Nothing better than a free mod. I think all of us dual sport guys like that. Oh yeah, I would say that's better, but definitely is making me want to ride a lot more aggressively. And if we creep up to 70, I mean, there is a little bit, yeah, there is a bit of twitchiness there.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. I'm Ben, and today I'm gonna do an experimental mod on the DRZ4S that I think should improve not only the ergonomics, but also the handling characteristics, at least for me and my own personal preferences, and it should be essentially free as long as you've got the tools to do it. So if that sounds interesting, stick around and we'll get into it. For any of you guys who might be unfamiliar with me and the channel, I've got the DR650 and the XR650 builds back here that I've done bar risers and bar swaps on both. And I can put links to those videos down in the description if you want to check them out. I'll also have affiliate links to all the products that I'm using that help the channel out down in the top pinned comment and in the video description. On the XR here, we've got a set of 2-inch adjustable rocks offset risers clocked sort of all the way forward. This bike has the Tusk Chub bars in the moto bend. I've also kind of got these bars rolled a bit forward, which I've definitely come to like. The DR650 here has sort of a weird situation going on with the GPS bar windshield bracket deal here. And if you guys want to know more about that, I've got build playlists that I'll link for both of these bikes. I'm not going to get into it right now, but that adds some lift. And then I've also got the rocks offset risers here, and both the 2-inch risers on the XR and these risers convert from a 7/8 to a 1 1/8 chub bar, which is also just sort of what I prefer. This bike has the KTM bend on it. And the new DRZ4S here just comes with chub bars already installed, which I'm definitely a fan of. It also has slightly higher bar risers than the original DRZ400 did. But because of the way Suzuki sets their bikes up from the factory, and really most Japanese dual sports set their bars up this way, they're sort of rolled backwards, I guess. And I think for a lot of people, that's probably just fine. For motocross riders, this might even be what you prefer. For me personally though, I mean, seated this works okay, but as soon as I stand up, I don't know, they just feel, well, too close to the pegs, too close to me. I also don't really like how they're sort of arced backwards. And of course, because of my relationship with Rocky Mountain ATV, I could get basically whatever bend Tusk Chub bar I want and try them out on here. I think honestly though, this set of ATV high bend bars that I've had from a different build would probably be my first choice just because they're a little bit higher. And just like on the DR and the XR builds, I would probably kind of clock them forward a little bit. But I think before we do that, it probably makes sense to, well, just try clocking the stock bars forward and see what that gets us. So let's get some tools out, get these adjusted, and then we'll take it out for a ride and see how I like it. Gotta pop these little caps off. Hopefully not lose them. And go on forever. Anybody got a plastic magnet? I didn't hear anything fall. It's a good opportunity to show why I always put some sort of wraparound metal core handguard on a bike like this. If we didn't have this loop sticking down here, the bike would be resting on the brake lever there and also on the bar end. And while of course that in and of itself would not be a good thing, the rest of the bike would be a lot closer to the ground. So that's why I always go with a wraparound guard like that. Not gonna save you from everything, but certainly helps keep the bike off the ground a little bit. Might also save you a brake or clutch lever. Oh, I heard it. Aha! It's in the skid plate. There we go. Okay. Now, of course, once I adjust these bars, I'm probably going to have to adjust at the very least my Tusk D-Flex handguards and probably my brake and clutch lever, just so everything sort of lines up and isn't tilted too far forward. But since I don't exactly know where the bars are going to feel right, I figure we might as well just adjust them first and then work with everything else afterwards. What size is that? It's a 6mm. And I have actually had some problems with these Tusk spinning or speed T handles. Don't seem to be able to handle the load that they need to with this end here. I haven't had any problems with this, and I guess maybe we should just try that first, see how tight these are. Pretty tight. This could easily spin right on here, which I'm definitely not a fan of. Ugh. Yeah, I guess it might be strong enough. Probably still not a great idea. Oh, I should have checked what side clamped first. The front of these clamps, I think, are supposed to be bottomed out here. So you tighten these two first, and then you actually get your clamping power from the back to here, because you can see we've got quite the gap. The other thing that I noticed here is if you want to make sure you can get back to the stock location, that little indent in the bars, I think, is probably the factory's way of telling their assemblers where those are supposed to be clocked. So I'm just going to kind of tap them forward a bit. Oh man, I like that so much better already. There's just so much more room. How about for standing up? As long as I don't tip over. Yeah, definitely feels better. Get this out of the way here. And that will require a slightly smaller 5mm for my Tusk D-Flex handguards here. And I think actually this is what scratched this all up. The Adventure toolkit here should have, there we go, some hex keys in here. What did I say, 5? There we go. The other nice thing about doing a bar swap is that I wouldn't have had to drill the stock bars out. If you guys didn't catch that video, that was a real pain in the butt, and I had to do that to get these to fit on here, at least with the Barkbuster bar end weights, which was definitely a must-have. Otherwise, these bars are way too buzzy. So, of course, now we can't move this up because that'll crash into the brake reservoir, so I guess the brake reservoir is going to have to go up too. Grab these out of the Adventure toolkit as well. Uh-oh, is that not going to be small enough? I bet it's not, though. Oh, nope, Rocky Mountain knows what they're doing. That's a 8mm. So here too, we probably only need to loosen it just a little bit. I think this should all rotate fairly easy now, right? Oh, well that crashes into this now. And since I can't really get this in here very well with that on here, I suppose I got two different choices. I'd either take this off or, it makes it a little bit hard to make sure you don't go sideways, but I think I should be able to make it work. Yeah. There we go, that one's loose. All right, now, without further ado, that'll rotate. That will rotate. This, whoop, now we just rotated the bars back. Probably got to get loosened up a bit more. I was hoping not to have to do that one, but I think I probably will have to anyway. That's pretty loose. These I suppose I should have extra loose so I don't scratch my bars up. That was probably kind of silly. There we go. Oops, don't crash into that. That wasn't good. Of course, want to make sure we're not pulling anything too tight here, but it seems like we've got plenty of slack in the brake line yet, I think. Might as well do the other side. Same size. There we are. Again, checking my cables. Oh, I can't wait to try this out. I've been wanting to do this for so long. Ooh, definitely don't want to knock the bike over though, or lose the bars, I guess, and knock the bike over. Remember, they're loose. Do we want those any farther forward now that I can move them forward? It just feels so much better. I don't understand why the factory puts bars the way that they do. It just feels like such a mundane riding position where this just, I don't know, really feels like you can get a hold of the bike and you're ready to do something, you know? I don't know, I like it. Yeah, I would say this is gonna feel, well, I shouldn't say anything, but it feels a lot better in the garage, I can tell you that much. It looks just, I don't know, mean and aggressive and ready to rip, which of course it's not. I've gotta get all of this stuff tightened back down, but I think I'm gonna start with these just so then I can wrench on these a bit and get them where they need to be. So I'm gonna clamp these front ones down. And I think eventually once I get this all straightened out, I will probably put some medium strength thread locker on everything, but for today, just messing around, I'm not gonna worry about it. So those two are clamped. Now these back two, well, sorry, the front two are bottomed out. The back two here now will do the clamping. And just like I mentioned with all the cables and stuff, we'll of course want to make sure that I can turn the bars full lock one way and the other, and I'm not stretching anything or activating anything or deactivating anything. Definitely want to figure that out in the garage, not while you're on a ride. And then what I like to do is try to get my hand guards sort of in a position where they don't look like they're angled down at the end. They just really are kind of supposed to give your hands some protection from brush and also from wind and that sort of thing. So I like them to look like they're actually going to be doing that and to, of course, actually do that. How does that side look? Seems like it should provide some wind protection for my hand. Now the trick, of course, is getting this stuff tightened down into place without actually moving anything. Like that. Why do I feel like I'm gonna bash myself in the face here? Wouldn't be the first time. This one's fake. At least most of it is. The next thing I'll have to do here is position the brake lever. And what I like to do is sort of hide the levers themselves behind the wraparound part of the guard here. So if this tips over, this is actually protected and isn't hanging out below it or above it. Also just kind of like how it looks, I suppose. What I don't like about this whole setup and how this all fits together though is how close this little elbow here, the brake line, comes to the wraparound guard here. This gets knocked up. It's going to get pushed right into this, and you could possibly break this off. There we are. And then to make sure that the levers and the handguards both line up from right to left, I like to sort of stand behind the bike here and just sort of peer over the tops of the grips, and you can kind of see that the levers and the handguards start to sort of peek out on top of them. And it actually looks like I just sort of accidentally got them in the perfect spot. So I guess we'll just tighten the left side down and we can take it out for a ride. Ah, why did this move? Or when did this move? What's happening? If we way overdo it and then tighten it down. Yeah, seems like that worked beautifully. Clutch cable and electronics seem okay over here. Throttle cables seem fine. Do full lock. That might change that, but that still seems okay. What are we doing over here? How about that way? Yeah, all still seems good. Definitely still a good idea to take it very easy, especially since, of course, I've made a modification to the bike, so it is going to handle differently. It even looks meaner from up front here. I just really think this is where bars belong on a bike. Oh, I suppose I was forgetting to put the caps in, but honestly, I don't know that I really mind it without them. I suppose that might keep the water out and keep them from rusting like the hardware on the D-Flex guards do, but I don't know, I don't really mind them.
So I found a bit of an issue already here. It turns out that because the clutch lever is now in the same exact location as the little high beam flasher there, every time I squeeze the clutch all the way in here, we get the high beam coming on, which is, well, less than ideal. So I guess I'm going to try to fix that quick. I suppose I didn't even really realize it, but that's actually how you turn the high beams on this bike, since they've got the mode selector in the normal spot for a high beam selector. So that would cancel the high beams anytime I turn them on as well. So I'm going to have to do something about this. So JIS there, loosening both of those should allow me to rotate this, but I'm guessing there's a location pin in there. Can I rotate it? Nope, of course not. And I'm sure somebody will be upset about this, but I'm just going to clip the nub off. So this one was the back one on the left, front one's on the right. Looks like the same size to me. I think we should be able to kind of take that apart just like that. There's the pin, and up there's the hole, and that, well, basically allows you to only put this in the factory location. So I'm going to see if I can carefully tear this thing off. Like Whistling Diesel tearing parts off of brand new motorcycles. There, seems like that should rotate. Hopefully not too easily. If it does, I can always wrap some electrical tape around there. Very rarely have I actually had to do that. Most of the time, they'll clamp just fine without. Oh, that's getting tight already, I think. There was no good. If we go just a little bit past that, though, it should not be a problem then. Doesn't seem like that's going to want to go anywhere at all.
And that'll be working, so we have high beams when we want them, not when we're shifting. And of course, I could do the same exact thing with the control on this side, but I don't really see any interference yet or any reason to do it, so I'll leave it for now.
Wow. Yeah, it might just be the fact that I'm accustomed to having bars feel like this on my bike, since that's what I've got the other one set up like. And I mean, that could be all it is, but boy, to me, this feels so much nicer. Feels so much more at home on this thing now. Woo! It was usable before, but everything, I don't know, it just felt so cramped and awkward. I like how this looks better. I definitely like how it performs better off-road. I cannot imagine that I'll dislike it on the road, but we're all geared up and we're set to do a test, so we might as well go out and test and see. But as of right now, oh, this is so nice. So we're going to have a bit to talk about when we get to the pavement portion. We're going to hit some gravel here now, but I did run into some not so nice side effects of this, but we'll get into that once we get on the road and I can show you. For now, let's try a little bit of extra leverage that I think we've got here. Yeah, I think I like that better. Oh yeah, I would say that's better. Just kind of a more aggressive feel. With the gravel bits here, we'll turn the rear ABS off. And we'll see how this feels. Oh, I do not trust these tires. Feels good so far though. Yeah, and it seems like I can actually stand up and give my back and my legs and stuff a stretch. Bent down a little bit in the attack position. I would say both positions really feel pretty good. The Adventure Rider stretch is just about all I need at my height anyways. I don't really feel like I need to lower the pegs anymore. I like the amount of space that I've got between them now for standing up. Yeah, I would say I could ride fairly aggressively like this and also still kind of give myself a bit of a rest from being in that hunched over seated position. Woo! Front end gets a little light though. Along with a warning for the pavement, I would say that a little bit of a warning for off-road too. It definitely is making me want to ride a lot more aggressively than I was before. What I think it is anyways is just the fact that now the bars aren't swept so much. They're kind of rolled so that sweep is removed, and instead now I have kind of almost more of a straighter bar, at least from this angle. And the more sweep you have, the more effort you have to put in to get the bike and the bars to do anything. And if you reduce that sweep and get a straighter bar, well, then you basically got more leverage. Your arms are, or at least my arms are, in what feels like a better position to really kind of get on it and go, you know? And it certainly makes me want to do that. Yeah, I think I'm going to need to get some more aggressive tires on this quickly now. Might have to put these bars back in the meantime. You guys can't see me smiling, but boy am I smiling. That's what I was missing on this thing. Nothing better than a free mod too, right? I think all of us dual sport guys like that. How about some county road corners here? I would say that feels pretty good. Just like the fact that I've got more leverage for, you know, throwing the bike around off-road or on-road around the corners, which seemed to work really good. And just like I have a little bit more leverage with the bars a little bit farther forward for wheelies, when you get going a little bit quicker, the sort of quick handling that this bike already comes with due to the kind of tucked in, more aggressive rake, it can kind of make the bike feel a little bit twitchy. And to be honest, I don't know that I ever actually gave the bars a shake in their stock position, so maybe you guys can let me know. Have you ever experienced any sort of twitchiness? And I'm not telling you to go out and try to throw your bike around like this. It's not a good idea. I just kind of like to do it just so I know how the bike is going to react if I all of a sudden have to quick throw it out of line to get around an obstacle in the road. Look out, butterfly! Look out, whatever you are too. Big eagle, maybe? What you doing up there? I kind of almost wonder if just having your hands slightly further forward kind of makes it handle a little bit quicker too. I suppose it would, because otherwise back here you're kind of, you have to swing with the bike, where now you're kind of, right down on top of where the tubes actually shoot down to hold the front wheel. So I'm making my way to the highway here, or a part of the highway that's not under construction, hopefully. And I've kind of been thinking about this a bit, and I'm wondering if maybe just the fact that the bars are a little bit further forward, that kind of pushes my weight a little bit farther forward too, and sort of like when I scoot to the front of the seat on the XR on the freeway, it makes it more nervous. I'm wondering if just shifting my weight towards the front of the bike and putting a little bit more on that front wheel sort of makes it a little bit nervous. And of course, what I said about just the leverage that's added now is still there. It's probably all a part of the equation, but I wonder if just kind of shifting towards the back of the bike would help a bit. I guess we'll see once we get on the freeway. Oh, what? There wasn't any road work for a while? And now it's going to be road work in a mile. Okay, great. So the whole time that I was riding in the work zone, I didn't notice anything at all. And I think that is partially because I'm scooted back to the seat a bit more. And honestly, this is really pretty comfortable. I think it's probably where I'd be on the highway anyways. And I can kind of scoot myself back and hunch myself down and not get as much wind. And if we creep up to 70 here, it feels a little twitchy. I don't know that it would have felt much better with the bars in a different position. I mean, these bikes just are not really at their best at 70 miles an hour. That's just not really what their designed intent is. They're able to do it, but it's not going to feel like a sport bike or a super solid, rock solid cruiser or anything like that. But I would say, it's still usable for me. Of course, be careful and don't ever ride outside your comfort zone. If I go a little bit further up front, there is a little bit, there is a bit of twitchiness there. Oh, there we go. See, and I wonder if that's just the bike. If I scoot back. Oh yeah, taking the weight off the front certainly helps. So I'm pretty curious to see if I adjust these bars back to the stock location, if that's going to make the bike a little bit less nervous. So I stopped here to make a quick adjustment, and before I do, I just want to document that's where that little divot is. So I'm going to move that back to the stock position. So the brake and clutch lever are obviously a little awkwardly positioned now since I didn't relocate anything for the change. But I'm definitely going to switch this back as soon as I can, because now that I've seen what this thing feels like, with these in a much better position for me anyways, I really, really do not like this. Let's go. Yeah, it still feels like a DRZ400 on the highway, I suppose. I think it is slightly better, though. What if I sit up a little bit higher? That makes a difference on the XR. Oh. Yeah, I bet it... Okay, that's what it is. It's not the bar location as much as it is, well, where the bar location puts me. it comes, yeah, if I sit back and down lower, it comes in a line a lot quicker.
So definitely some things I think to keep in mind, but after I got the bike home that day, I immediately rolled the bars back forward and I went out and tried a few different positions. Didn't really seem like it made too much of a difference. I think what I've concluded is basically that if you allow yourself through either a bar riser or a different bend bar or just rolling these bars forward, if you allow yourself to be a little bit higher up and a little bit more over the front wheel, it just makes the bike feel a bit more nervous. And there are definitely some seating positions that I think do make that better, but I think even just having a little bit more leverage and having the bars just a little bit further forward or a little bit kind of forward of the fork tubes just kind of compounds that issue a little bit. And of course, anytime you make any sort of modification to a dual sport or adventure bike, you are probably going to adversely affect the opposite end of the spectrum that you're trying to improve, if that makes sense. So if you improve the on-road handling, you're probably going to make the off-road handling a little bit worse and vice versa. And I mean, that's kind of what we saw here today, although I would say, 90% of the riding that I did during the testing, this was far better for me, in my opinion, and then the 10% of the time when I was purposefully trying to replicate some sort of emergency situation on the freeway, which again isn't necessarily where this bike is designed to be or at its best anyway, then it wasn't exactly an ideal modification or something that improved the handling. It certainly wasn't something that would make me not want to have these rolled forward. It's definitely something to keep in mind, but I ended up leaving these essentially where I think they were basically right off of the bat. So I've really enjoyed it. I've been out quite a bit since then. I've had it at high speeds again, and when I wasn't purposefully trying to replicate some sort of issue at high speed or even at slow speed or whatever, when I was just out riding this normal, I never noticed any problems at all.
And again, while I would never suggest trying to tease your bike into a death wobble, this rather scary scenario is something that can happen to most any motorcycle, regardless of bar position or rider position. And most people's natural reaction, I think, is to hang on for dear life and to try to fight the bike into submission. But in my experience, that can actually make the wobble much worse. So instead, I just do my best to still stay connected to the bike, of course, but also kind of stay loose and just let the bike come back into line on its own, which seemed to work well enough during the testing with the DRZ, regardless of bar or body position.
So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this little experiment today, don't be afraid to let me know down in the comment section or just hit the like button if you think that somebody else that you know would be interested in this type of content. I would really appreciate it if you'd share it with them. Huge thanks to any of you guys who use my affiliate links down in the top pinned comment and in the video description. And an extra special thank you to my channel members out there. I could not do what I do without you guys. It makes a huge difference, and it's, well, basically what allows me to do this. So thank you. Take care. Stay safe. Stay swanky. Get out there and enjoy this beautiful world any chance you get. And if you can't do that right now, here's more videos to check out. In the meantime, Godspeed, and we'll catch you on the next one.